But I do not talk of the beginning or the end. There was never any more inception than there is now, nor any more youth and age than there is now, and will never be any more perfection than there is now, nor any more heaven or hell than there is now. Urge and urge and urge, always the procreant urge of the world.
More cups, more cups separate.
जब टाइगर लेपर्ड को किल करता है तो गर्दन को दबा के रखता है कम से कम 1.5 से 2 मिनट तक।
अच्छा पार्ट है उसकी कारण। तो वो जो डियर भागे हैं
वो उसने एक बार वापस अभी छोड़ दिया।
No, I wasn't thinking of Walt Whitman's song to myself while watching this macabre. Later, when I was watching my footage, I remembered these lines. Torn between thrill and sorrow, I was watching how apex predators shape ecosystems more by fear than the real act of killing. In this video, I will take you through the breathtaking moments of my third leopard sighting in Bandipur, wherein we got a decent amount of time to be awestruck as she was eating the carcass. So far you saw a glimpse of her savagery, but there's much to unpack here, as I was able to capture her dramatic moves with and without her prize. But the day didn't exactly start with so much adrenaline rush. So I'm ready for my second safari. It's 5:30 now. We are going to assemble in a place to have tea and then we will go out. With an extraordinary suction skill, elephants can suck up 3 liters of water per second at 330 miles per hour, a speed 30 times faster than a human sneeze and faster than most high speed trains. I couldn't help but admire these impressive giants whenever I see them, and particularly in the soothing breeze of early summer morning. It was a delight to watch this mother in Bandipur National Park with her calf. Ever heard a baby elephant or calf's trumpet inside a forest? How adorable is that? I was smiling while recording the baby's idiosyncrasies. At birth, a calf's trunk has little muscle tone and no coordination. So baby elephants suckle through their mouth and not through their trunk, but even they consume 2 to 3 gallons of milk daily. The baby is dependent on the mother for milk for at least 2 years. It takes several months for a calf to gain full control of its trunk. Once they become adults, elephant trunks become one of the finest tools of nature. The trunk may look like a jointless thick noodle of pure muscle, but it can be used as a snorkel in deep water to reap trees from the ground and at the same time to gently pick up a super thin potato chip from a table without breaking it. In just 1.5 seconds, an average elephant trunk can suck up to 3.7 liters, the equivalent of 20 toilets flushing simultaneously. But remember, an elephant trunk is not a straw. What they do is actually drink water into their trunk and they store it. Oh, with the beak open looking for the fish.
Yeah.
As our jeep was halted near the water body, we were rewarded with the company of these wild elephants and painted storks. And we were waiting here for a long time because last evening, near this water body, we saw a leopard in ambush attempting to target 2 different herds of deer, as shown in the first episode, and we wanted to know, did he do it? As leopards rely heavily on their keen nocturnal hearing and eyesight due to the presence of a specialized membrane called the tapetum that reflects a light that passes through the retina twice, there was a fair bit of chance. However, both leopards and tigers don't have a highly favorable kill rate. Daytime hunting is typically even more ineffective. But late evening, had there been a kill after we left the park or last night, then the predator could be around this spot as they might not have dragged the prey too far to conserve energy. Like tigers, leopards hide their kills at times under bushes covered with leaves and grass, behind the boulders in a secluded area, but unlike tiger, they often lift their prey up to a tall tree to hide them as they can't eat larger animals at one go. It is not uncommon for a leopard to drag their kill 50 feet high into a tree and so have us scanning all surrounding trees while waiting. As dryness of the summer prevails over most parts, the backwaters of the Kamini Reservoir in the northwestern portion of the forest host huge congregation of large mammals. India, a land of unparalleled biodiversity, boasts a remarkable distinction in the animal kingdom. It is the only country in the world that harbors all five of the planet's most iconic big cat species. While the limelight often gravitates towards the royal tiger and majestic lion, another highly fascinating, fearsome, and agile predator roams here with equal elan: the common Indian leopard. Unlike tigers that colonized India from the east, Malayan realm, leopards originated in the Ethiopian realm similar to lions, and they entered India from the western corridor much earlier than lions and tigers. I asked the Jungle Raj's guide about whether camera trap captured anything at night, but even if it did, it was too early for him to know. Looking at this deer herd, it felt everything was calm in their world, but I am no expert to understand deeply the activity patterns of herbivores. There was no alarm call, their body language was relaxed, and then suddenly it struck me that the body language of yesterday's deer herds, for the most part, were at ease too, when they were being targeted. Could it be possible that we were dealing with a supremely stealthy one whose presence was very difficult to pick up? Should we wait any longer?
शेर का पूरा मतलब घबराहट हो गया था। यहाँ नहीं पूरा 1 किलोमीटर सिर्फ कॉर्बेट बांधे हुए लेपर्ड लेपर्ड बहुत सारे लेपर्ड का मिल गया यहाँ भी मतलब उनको एक ही बार में 11 लेपर्ड। हाँ दवाई कहाँ पे सीधे सीधे
Ghost of the jungle in the golden hour, walking like a true shapeshifter. Is there anything more bewitching? Is this the same one who ambushed yesterday evening? And the one who ambushed, and the second leopard we saw amidst resounding alarm calls during afternoon safari, were they the same one? I still didn't know these answers. The popular understanding is that leopards have clearly marked territories that do not overlap with each other. But there are enough evidence to suggest the contrary, and with adequate presence of prey beasts, more than one leopards share this territory even though they are solitary hunters. This leopard came a bit closer towards the forest road for some time, but as if had a change of mind, and we saw this powerful felid moving inside the jungle. After a while, we realized why.
कर लिया शिकार।
Children over age of 3 years and at times 5 years are allowed in all Indian safari destinations. And last I checked, Bandipur has no age regulation. Profit factors in, and that's why regulations and parents' common sense are different things. My personal opinion is that forest authorities shouldn't allow entry and parents shouldn't bring kids and teenagers before 14 years, as we may come across sites that are unpalatable for underdeveloped minds. Before that, most of us don't even learn to appreciate forest anyway. But many Indians make family visit like a picnic inside the national park. There was also a baby in the jeep, and so I was relieved that we couldn't see details much with bare eyes. But thanks to my lens, I clearly saw it was a fresh kill, and the leopard dragged the unfortunate one inside. Our guide estimated that the leopard might be moving towards the water body with the prey, and so we made a round and arrived at the less drier side amid strong alarms. The killer must be close.
You can't see, you have to come front. Behind the big tree, there.
So the hidden food was dragged here. Looking at the condition of this carcass, I guessed he struck half an hour before our arrival, but it could have happened even before. These cats spend a lot of energy stalking their prey, and after they get the mental satisfaction of securing food, they hide it somewhere to go for a drink and rest a bit. That's why killing near a water body is such an ideal choice. The leopard could do everything without leaving prey for longer because this jungle has many other predators who can steal the food. The deer was showing no sign of struggle. Others in our jeep thought that the animal has already succumbed when he was dragging the prey earlier. Yet it seemed the predator was still hell-bent to choke the possible last breath out of the prey. Now you know why I emphasized so much on neck protection during my How to Save Yourself from Leopard Attack video. By instinct, big cats maintain a tight hold over their prey for a long duration, even after all the struggle ceases. Since death is caused by strangulation, the prey might be just unconscious and could revive if the grip is released early. Both leopard and tiger don't usually eat their kills immediately after hunting. They let it rot a bit, perhaps because slightly decomposed meat is softer to tear. While it appears ruthless to human sensibilities, and there are age-old myths and folklores around how cunning leopards are, I would like to make it very clear that it's just you and me eating meal to satiate our hunger. We do not now have to hunt and eat raw, they do, and they are extremely skilled at that. So even though I named this episode as Cruel Lover, as mentioned by Vanov, what you are watching is not an act of cruelty or any transgression. That's us projecting man-made moral codes and sensibilities in a place where no such rule exists.
ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಯಾಕೆ
This was no longer an alarm call. It was a clear expression of shock and grief. As the carcass was dragged further, all seemed to know that one of their own was beyond all protection now.
My God.
Just look at this face. Before this moment, I was not being able to see details much with bare eyes. This was where I got to notice for the first time that his eyes were grey. Green and copper were most common colors, and usually snow leopards spot grey eyes, but common Indian leopards also come with yellowish grey with light grey ocular bulbs. From a certain angle, the grey becomes more pronounced amidst yellowish twinge. We became now sure that this was not the one whom we saw yesterday making a hunting attempt. But our guide was not sure that the second leopard we saw yesterday and the one who was targeting deer herd when we were about to leave the forest were different or not. Few of you commented about the count of leopards shown in the first episode, and one of you mentioned seeing 4 different leopards. Might well be true, but just because we weren't sure, I am sticking to the narrative of this being my 3rd leopard sighting, the grey-eyed killer. We will never know whether another deer also lost life somewhere or it was a failed attempt last evening.
If this appears fierce, then I have got some news for you. An average adult male leopard has a bite force of 500 pounds per square inch or psi. In comparison, an average adult male tiger has double the bite strength. And a leopard's bite strength is actually less than the bite strength of an English Mastiff dog. There's another measurement criteria in terms of understanding the strength of the bite, and that is called bite force quotient, BFQ, which takes into account the body mass of an animal. So it's not an absolute strength of the bite, but it's a comparison. It's actually a regression of the quotient of the bite force of the animal in Newton divided by the body mass in kilogram. It's a little complicated, other parameters taken into account, the measure. But yes, in this same jungle, even though leopard is pretty much on the top of the pyramid, but still there is another animal which has double the bite force. But anyway, the leopard ultimately, dragged the prey inside, and he was sitting on the top of the carcass while aggressively growling, as I have shown before. I guess too many jeeps were present in the spot, and he didn't appreciate the buzz. I was partly blank, partly thrilled, and partly disturbed about the entire proceedings. Blank because it was too early in the morning in empty stomach to take in. Thrilled because this was the first time I was watching leopard with a prey. I have seen tiger kill before in forest, but this was the first time I have seen leopard, though didn't see the exact hunting moment. And disturbed naturally because of, we cannot really always keep our emotions separate, even though I understand very much that it's what is unfolding is pretty natural. Whether we get to see it or not, it happens on a regular basis. And I felt like a biochemical mess. 19% of the planet's land is still wild, and it's strange that a part of us that we carefully try to suppress with civilized sophistication and moral compunction, it's still pretty much beyond our control, because our body is completely teeming with organisms which we are not aware of. It's teeming with life, and we do not have any control whatsoever about those very basic instincts regarding which we do not speak much as civilized humans. Before yesterday, I haven't seen any big cats in Bandipur, and suddenly so many things were going on. So it was just kind of, it's a deluge on your senses. But the jungle was just warming up.
For the next 50 minutes, we went past many bumpy trails and found the deciduous forest at its most bare. We didn't spot anything other than a jackal running with a spotted deer leg, and it could be stolen from a different prey altogether, since it was quite far from that fateful spot where we last saw the leopard. One gets to notice the fabric of the jungle more intimately when there's no wildlife around. I noticed how differences in temperature, moisture, and elevation have caused the formation of distinct plant associations. While some parts still remain green, that won't be too long once the summer makes the entire forest bone dry. Our guide suddenly increased the speed, and I observed his face turning stiff when he mentioned Little ahead, Sundari was spotted by visitors of two jeeps. But we were jolted with style and halted in our track when a Sundar decided to walk towards our jeep as if on a ramp. In Sanskrit, the classical language of India, Sundara signifies beauty and grace in both physical and abstract forms. While in Spanish, bonito/bonita is used for both genders to signify pretty, many Indian languages derived from Sanskrit and even Dravidian family of languages in the south use gender-based adjectives like Sundar for male and Sundari for female. And at this moment, the national bird of India, as he proclaimed, "I am the most beautiful one of this forest." Our guide, Mr. Swami, was eager to leave this spot though and get on with the quest of a different beauty. But I don't want to miss few good frames for the uncertain promise. Strangely, I didn't feel any excitement about the tip he got from one jeep. Perhaps my system wasn't ready for another rush quite yet. Multiple times we chased such news feverishly in the past, only to miss the tiger by a whisker. I couldn't help but remember that I faced very similar situation during my second safari in Kaziranga, as some of you have already watched in this channel. There also tiger was sighted by members of two jeeps and we rushed to the spot hearing about it, leaving the golden jackals out for their share of a rhino kill. But I understand why guides always take a chance like this. Confirmed news of sighting increases the chance as the largest wildcat species alive on Earth, the Royal Bengal Tiger, could be seen in and around the spot once again. Not sure if this was an orange minivet or little minivet, but before I could identify and capture the small bird amidst misty light, it flew away. Nobody wanted to wait any longer to observe Peacock after hearing about tiger sighting, and so we came to that spot where few other jeeps were also waiting. Upon reaching here, I remember reading about the most dominant daughter of Machali, the famous tigress T17 or Sundari, who was once the star attraction of Ranthambore. Bandipur has its own Sundari, a legend in her own right. I heard about this Sundari too for different reasons, but never got a glimpse of her. While Ranthambore Sundari was known for her fierce spirit and mysterious disappearance after abandoning 3 rearing cubs that sparked a search by over 110 forest guards, Bandipur Sundari is, well, you must have seen how paparazzi surround a celebrity while they are spotted at the airport or leaving from an event. That's the kind of attention here Sundari demands due to her exquisite face and propensity to walk directly on the safari trail. Late Prince was one of the most mighty tigers who ruled the Bandipur Forest until 2017, like no other tiger ever did. Prince would often come close to the safari vehicles and pose for the shutterbugs for a long time, earning him the sobriquet of India's most photographed tiger. Very soon, Sundari took over the mantle and became one of the most spectacular looking tigress Bandipur had ever witnessed, with an impressively large territory spanning across two different states, from Bandipur to Mudumalai. In 2021, she was often spotted in Basavanakatte area while rearing two cubs. Few months ago, I heard she was spotted near Bandipur Mudumalai border with her two rather grown-ups. One of them apparently is as bold as her, and another being very shy. Good to know that her fate unfolded very differently than her namesake in Ranathambar. But neither I have seen Prince, nor Sundari or her cubs. Strictly speaking, I had no big cat sightings in Bandipur out of my several visits in the past, till yesterday.
Sure. Hello. Hello.
The only buzz and excitement this jungle was lacking since morning. I was now impressed and wanted to inquire him about his network provider. He did it in leopard's proximity in the first safari, and now he was perhaps planning to stun tiger with the cadence of his hello. What if animals slowly associate mobile ringtone to be the human alarm call? At this rate, who knows what future litters of Bandipur's wildlife will pick up about our behaviors through inherited adaptations. I don't think they like our presence inside their home anyway. They merely tolerate. But other than our mobile man, the jungle was mostly quiet since we arrived at this spot, and the large deer herd seemed to be unbothered, even though guides from other jeeps confirmed spotting Sundari half an hour ago deep inside a distant chamber. Till we saw this. Smelling possibilities, I woke up from my daze.
अभी अभी से तीन है सांबर deer इधर ही देख Sambar Deer. They're Brahmin style you are asking now.
Yeah.
आगे 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 वाह
Recording, right? Should we move? सुंदरी हटाओ तो चालू चालू है ना चालू टाइगर आ गया टाइगर आ गया कोई बात नहीं देख लेते गाइस आराम से आराम से आराम से आराम से आराम से रहनी चाहिए जंगल में मूवमेंट कर रहा है टाइगर जय माता दी पीछे लो पीछे लो भैया लो 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 बस 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 ये देखिए दोस्तों
We were witnessing the absolute beauty of nature under perfect light. Bandipur's own girl, the unrivaled queen, Sundari. I don't prefer sighting on the trail in the presence of other japes because we go berserk and restrict the free movements of the inhabitants. But in my experience, true cornering from both ends often happen in central Indian forest. And here, thankfully, better sense prevailed and jeeps started backtracking to give her space to walk on the jungle where Sundari breathes life. Her luminous coat was flickering as she walked like the arrival of a bygone spirit.
वो दूसरा गाड़ी वेट करने के लिए वो समटाइम पानी पीने के आए तो मिलेगा वो अंदर बैठे
Born to an equally bold mother known as Kadamuttur Katte female, Sundari now occasionally comes inside Bandipur, and after watching Kismet, the Queen of Kabini in 2020, I was deeply humbled to be finally able to watch Queen of Bandipur's real wild cat walk, the only kind I savor. The jungle as if came to a standstill with the arrival of the showstopper. Such is the dominance and strength of a tigress that those razor-sharp canines that you saw can shear meat from their prey like knife blades with an incredible 1,000 pounds per square inch bite force, and sometimes even more. In comparison, the Turkish Kangal, a shepherd dog with the strongest bite force amongst dogs, registered 743 psi, English Mastiff with 556 psi, Wolf hybrids with 406 psi, and Rottweiler with 328 psi, Pit Bulls with 235 psi, and Moa, my Pomeranian friend, falls below 200 psi, even though he managed to spread terror at the vets in his own ways. We all knew that if Sundari came out in the open, she might venture towards Waterhole to cool off. And that's what happened, even though we were expecting her to take a straightforward path. But the tigress preferred a roundabout way, perhaps because she was out to patrol her territory. She settled at the left of the ditch filled with little water, and there were bonnet macaques in the surrounding trees, but no one was giving out alarm calls. This just reiterates my observation that they do not see a relaxing or sleeping tiger as a threat. We didn't see Sundari's cubs, and her mate Muga died few years ago. Looking at her approach, full belly, and not drinking the water but sitting there, I wondered if she had recently made a kill too. The raw meat generates a lot of heat. Tigers sit near water not only to cool off during summer, but also whenever they have eaten. She changed her sitting position at least thrice. We could see her properly for somewhere around 11 minutes, thanks to our well-conversant guide who knew exactly where to take the jeep, depending on her movement, and guides of all jailer jeeps present here collaborated well to ensure all guests could see and photograph with minimal disturbance to the wild. It's so difficult and special to experience proper big cat sighting under good light that once that happens, it's even more difficult to leave the spot knowing the royalty is still around. Nobody wanted to leave. Herbivores were still in the alert mode, but we already exceeded the time. This was easily one of the most memorable and wholesome outing inside a forest where true nature of the wild unfolded before us. I just wished we made less noise. However, my expectation after this has become higher, and I was hoping to find Sundari again in the afternoon in case she doesn't move much. Now that we got an idea about current positions and movements, there's also a fair bit of chance to meet the fierce grey-eyed beauty once again. Because for the next few days, the leopard will be busy eating the kill, so movement should be minimal. Oh yes, somebody did it for sure.